Welcome back. You got Will and I-Man here from the Block Runner, MetaZone, and Rovi, and today we're going to be talking about the Metaverse ID system that apparently Meta
just rolled out,
and
I think yesterday. So it brought us down a deeper conversation of just, I guess, identity in general, and especially identity for the Metaverse.
Well, identity
Web3,
for all
identity,
Web3, yeah. So,
which is obviously, I mean, we talked about it before in the past. Because I think we recognize how crucial it's going to be. For one, for DeFi implications, but of course, just like a general human interaction, you're going to need to know the identity of who it is you're, engaging with at some point.
Yeah, let's think through why the identity is important. Because if you look at all of Web3, we have systems of collateral.
Yeah,
and we have maybe that's basically the only system that we have that hasn't been like broken down by like SEC or other government regulations.
Yeah.
So if we have a system of collateral, then the only thing you could do is provide collateral to get a loan.
Yeah.
And so in the traditional space, you can provide your social capital, your ability to take out a loan without having to put up a collateral, essentially, a credit worthiness, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And so we need that ability in the Web3 space, right? Because what if somebody doesn't have collateral, but they have a good track record that could pay back that loan?
Yeah.
And so that's where I was going to say Metaverse ID, but Web3 ID is necessary. Yeah.
It's also really important for the Web3 like work economy too. If we're trying to build like these decentralized ecosystems,
right,
where DAO governance is what dictates technical updates or technical progression for whatever protocol that needs additional construction.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to onboard some contributors with the ethos, the ether. And it would be nice to be able to, accept these work applicants like based on some sort of previous historical evidence.
Yeah, work history.
Some reputation, some sort of attestation from another protocol or something like that, or other developers with higher, reputations of their own.
For sure.
So all of this is all contributing to, on-chain identity, basically, because all this is going to be verifiable, right? So that is incredibly important.
So Meta officially rolls out its new Metaverse ID system, and apparently you don't have to use your Instagram or Facebook account to actually log in.
Yeah.
So now, essentially, I guess they're spinning up a new server and essentially collecting everybody's information in a new server so that you don't have to, you opt not to use your Facebook account to log in.
Yeah. You're just going to create a whole new trail of personal identity for them to kind of tap into at this point. It's going to be much more robust than what you can provide just by like social media, right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, think about it. If you have billions of users on Facebook, you're spinning up essentially a new server to collect a whole new set of users in the Metaverse.
Mm-hmm.
They might have a completely different behavior than people outside of the Metaverse.
Yep.
And they're more likely to spend more money on digital goods.
Yeah.
The traditional space is more likely to spend money on like just regular ads and stuff.
Yep.
So that could be new profiles are developing as a result, and it makes sense why Facebook is spending $10 billion on the Metaverse.
Oh yeah.
Right. There's going to be new behaviors to track.
Not just track, but to
take advantage of.
It's just new vectors of attack when it comes to like how do we advertise to these people?
Yeah.
So they can collect more.
Every surface becomes an advertisement now.
Yeah. And then if you understand like the movements and the behaviors and like all the patterns of all your users within the Metaverse, like that's the ultimate like God mode.
Sure.
Like observatory ability. So like you have all the data you need for like anybody who wants to exploit it or leverage it, right?
Yeah.
So this is the big fear. Everybody's afraid of this possibility.
So
because that it's too much power and control for one, entity.
And we went through this article and no mention of blockchain. So
yeah, of course.
Yeah. But I mean, I wouldn't say of course because they've mentioned, they're testing integration with Polygon.
Yeah, but listen, like what we're just explaining, the immense power. You think a company like Facebook wants to just distribute that?
Well, I don't think
that
just
away?
Because you're using a Web3 ID doesn't mean you're just giving away information. Like if you access the Meta's Metaverse Horizon with your Web3 ID, they can still track everything you're doing. It's their servers, their game, their world, their everything.
Yeah, but that's fine, I guess, because it's public access as opposed to just, completely in the control of them.
Right.
I think, and then we could build different, I don't know, privacy models that way companies like Facebook can't really tap into everything somehow, one way or another,
So far, the government doesn't like privacy.
Yeah, that's true.
They don't like that constitutional right, apparently.
Yeah, so maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Either way, but the conversation is still, so what
it's
entails,
still relevant.
Yeah, what entails the identity of an actual user of the metaverse, and why is it important? The big buzzword these days for the metaverse is interoperability.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody kind of struggles, what's the actual definition of it? What is it that needs to traverse with a user's experience from world to world, right? Is it?
I guess the most important one is avatars.
Well, yeah, that's a component of a user's identity, right?
Yeah.
You're you.
Yeah.
But avatars are, I guess, like switchable, right? So yeah, these are factors that.
I guess we called it a soul, right? Your identity is a soul. The activity that you partake in is your identity. The way you look is just your avatar, which is less important.
How you're feeling at the moment, right? Because you can have an infinite array of looks.
Yeah, you can be a dragon one day or a furry the next.
Yeah, but those looks have to go with me, follow me wherever I go. Like I have to have that same ability to exercise that emotion of that time because that is part of my identity, right?
Yeah.
If you can't do that, then identity is only localized to these silos, right? So like that's not an interoperable metaverse experience, according to all the experts of the metaverse space. Like that is a necessary tenet in order for us to actually truly live in the virtual realm. So
interoperability is a challenge, right? As far as avatars go, the soul factor, meaning tracking all of your activity. I mean, that sounds kind of scary at first, but you can still remain anonymous in this whole Web3 ID system.
Yeah, totally. Especially if you build enough on-chain presence independent of like whatever your real-world credentials are, like that's going to factor in way more, I think, to like on the protocol level.
That's true. Let's say you're contributing to Decentraland on-chain level, or then you're contributing to MakerDAO at the on-chain level.
Yeah,
like all these contributions are tracked and therefore represent your identity.
Yeah.
But you don't necessarily know whose name is associated with this account.
Yeah.
Right? It's not necessary.
No.
And then
you'll know their ETH name, right?
Yeah.
But that's the thing, that it's a whole separate identity than one you are stuck with in your real world. You know what I mean?
Stuck with, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we keep saying about that's the beauty of the metaverse. It really is just giving humanity's second shot at like giving people another chance of establishing value for themselves as individuals, right? In the physical sense, it's more difficult for some, mostly because of like factors that were not imposed by themselves, just birth rights, just geography. You could have just been born in the wrong place, wrong time. No access to resources, no access to education, things like this.
Yeah,
you could have all the genetic components to make you exceptional, but you could have just the unfortunate roll the dice in this real world MMO we're all participating in, right?
Of having no access to
anything,
resources of.
So that's the beauty of Web3 and the metaverse, right? It gives all humans on Earth a second opportunity, a new opportunity. Yeah, as long as you at least have bare minimum access to
internet and
a couple of hardware components, at least a phone.
Well, a phone, which billions of people do have.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's a low barrier to entry.
And a lot of people are, they're saying VR has to be like a necessary component to the metaverse. And we don't know yet. Maybe not. Maybe.
I think if you want to be fully immersed, then
Yeah, you don't necessarily have to have a headset on to participate in the economies of the metaverse, right?
Agreed.
Yeah. So that's going to be good. Because from what I'm seeing, Meta is developing like a new generation of headsets.
Yeah.
Like 3 times as expensive as the Quest because, I don't know, I guess like.
Well, they're lighter.
Yeah,
they last longer potentially.
Is that typically how like technology goes? Like the better it gets, the more expensive it gets. Isn't it usually like the cheaper things get?
Well,
isn't that like
eventually
like
it gets cheaper. But new technology is very expensive.
I guess like these MacBooks get more and more expensive, don't they?
They do, but it's inflation, dude. It's not
Apple. That's Meta's claim too. It's like the components to the VR headsets now are becoming more and more expensive, right? Supply chain,
COVID,
fallout, China's economic conundrums as well. A lot of the components of hardware come from there. So
So Meta,
I get it, but the reason to bring that up is because it's just limiting more access to it. If that becomes the metaverse layer for humanity, the VR components, then
very few people have access for a very long time.
Yeah. So then I'm wrong. This isn't humanity's second chance of
Well, access to the metaverse is humanity's second chance. The way we access it is going to be varying experiences.
Yeah.
You're either immersed or you're on a computer or on your cell phone.
Yeah.
So Meta brought this up, this whole ID system. So we got into, let me see what else we have here. So
if you know,
yeah, Philip Rosedale.
Interesting lad.
So who is he, man?
He's the founder of Second Life.
So he says, to become a living space, the internet must first develop a concept of identity. Today, we have servers, IP addresses at the bottom. We have to replace those somehow with people.
Mm-hmm.
And so someone chimes in. He says, what's your take on decentralized identity standard? Any methods of note? And he says, good ideas, but I'm struggling with the utility of transparency in blockchains. I think Web of Trust, built with signed attestations like group memberships or friendships, is roughly correct. But those attestations should be kept by individuals, not stored on chain.
So he's just struggling with blockchain in general. Like he's just, I don't know, he hasn't subscribed to, I guess, the
ethos, the crypto ethos, I
guess.
guess.
Yeah, he's just the Web3 model, you know.
It seems odd. I find it difficult to believe that someone who's built an ecosystem, an economic system in the virtual space struggles to understand the value of owning digital assets. It's weird to me.
Verifiable ownership. Well, because that's not the game he's really in.
Well, that's true. That's
he
a good
has
point.
the most successful, I think, attempt at like a metaverse economy without a doubt. It's like a $1 billion economy, or maybe not anymore, but it was at one point.
Yeah, it was $1 billion in volume, meaning billions were moved within that world.
Yeah, that means like people were buying and selling real estate. They were buying and selling 3D wearable type things.
Yeah, and that's different than market cap of $1 billion.
Yeah,
that's what people think that the company's worth because they're trading at that price.
Yeah.
But moving $1 billion within a virtual ecosystem is quite the achievement.
Yeah, and like you said, without the whole ownership component, right?
Yeah.
So, and then again, that's not the business he's in. So I don't know if that's why he's struggling. Just
it could be. Yeah, it could be.
But nonetheless, he's spot on with of course, with his experience of over 20 years of creating virtual economies and seeing how people interact and socialize in these types of virtual spaces. Identity is a crucial component, and he's identifying it, but he just doesn't subscribe to what
I like his analogy
methods.
here: IP addresses instead of like identities.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty good.
Yeah. So just a plug, I guess, a DID method while we're at it. This proof of humanity here. I think we made a video about it not too long ago.
Yes.
Not much progress as far as I'm aware of, but nonetheless, this kind of like is an introduction to what I think will become a broader sector in the Web3 space,
which kind of touches upon what Philip is talking about, attestations.
Yeah. We were just talking about that now. It's like we need to know people who are already like verified humans, proven humans within this ecosystem in order for us to get that proof. I'm not sure. So, but
yeah, I don't know either.
It makes sense, if that's the only way to do it,
Yeah. And so proof of humanity is just a decentralized identity where you basically apply for an identity and you get attestations for people who are already within the network.
Yep.
And then if you qualify, meaning you get in, they are talking about a UBI.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I actually completely forgot about that part of it.
Yeah. Which is an interesting kind of, Mark Zuckerberg is talking about UBI, Elon Musk, obviously Andrew Yang talks about it all the time. So there's merit in the concept of a UBI. I just don't know how successful that's going to be yet.
Yeah.
In this current environment, but nonetheless, DIDs are here. This is just one of them. There's quite a few of them. I think Civic is providing their version of a DID. But more importantly, the whole point of this conversation is that identity is extremely important. You don't have to expose who you are in this identity Web3 space, but you do need to have some elements of tracking and record keeping for your activities, your participation.
Yeah, it's just always important to kind of like be ahead of that curve and understand, if identity is going to become an inevitable component to your Web3 existence, then it's best to just start building it as much as possible. Because you can do that now. Whatever protocol or whatever standard that emerges in the future is going to be tied to your existing on-chain record, right? So you could start building your identity now by, interacting with the Uniswap, with going into Decentraland, voting in the DAO, attending events, collecting POAPs, stuff like this. This is all part of your on-chain identity. This is proof that you participate, you're active.
And there's elements of this already happening. If you interacted with Uniswap before the airdrop, you got an airdrop.
That's true. So already like your on-chain actions have like
real world consequences.
Yeah, like actually it's huge. I remember that Uniswap airdrop.
Yeah, that one. And
the one like reading like on Twitter, like how it was changing people's lives. Yeah, it was a good chunk. I think it was like $4,000 or something. $4,000,
yeah. Per interaction, per ETH address.
So if you had like multiple addresses, you're just getting like fat stacks.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It was awesome.
Yeah. And, but like I said, there's consequences. If you interacted with Tornado Swap, all of a sudden you lose access to your money if you're American, at least.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah. So it goes both ways, and it shouldn't be any different, right? We should expect consequences in the metaverse. If you start hacking and you happen to use your identity ETH address, like you're gonna get sanctioned, right?
So what do you do at that point? You just spin up a new ID?
I guess so. You gotta start over.
So time is, this is how time is a factor in the real world credit system, right? Like it's a contributor to like your rating, I guess, but it's just one of those things you can't like start over with human identity.
That's true.
Right. But
that's interesting. Cause if you go bankrupt, it's like 7 years and then you kind of have like a clean slate, I guess, or.
Yeah. But in this sense, like in the Web3 space, if you really fuck up intentionally, like after like a year of existence or
everyone
something.
Forgets.
Yeah, because you could just spin up a whole thing. But then you have to, so I guess the protocols, the lenders, whatever, are going to have to come up with their own, like,
It's a spectrum of like risk tolerance.
Yeah, like their underwriting, I guess. Credentialing, I don't know. It's interesting, but yeah, this is not for us to solve.
Yeah.
The point being is just identity. Did we talk about Ready Player Me yet?
No, here it is.
Okay, so that was like this also just spilled onto us because we're trying to equate identity with the metaverse as, Facebook, aka Meta, is doing. So
yeah.
The avatar aspect is going to be, I think, a critical part of one's identity. And we actually have experience interacting with this service called Ready Player Me. If you try to get into spatial, which we have, I don't know if we made a spatial video yet or not.
Not yet, but we will.
We will. But part of that process is the first thing you do is create an avatar. Well, that's the case for most metaverses, right? But in this one particular, it's integrated with this
with multiple services. I think 3,000 apps have linked Ready Player Me, and so they've been around since 2014. So they've been around the block a few times.
Yeah.
They
have an interesting technical feature of like you could just like scan your face, I guess, take a picture,
and it'll wrap it around the GLB model.
Yeah, but like pretty well.
Yeah, it looks cool.
So that's going to be something I think is going to be heavily leveraged by people. Maybe, I don't know. I always feel like the purpose of the metaverse is to escape yourself, but that's just
me. That's true.
That's just me,
That's true. And I told you to watch that VR chat movie. I think it's on HBO Max.
Yeah.
It's like a documentary of people like engaging with each other, learning sign language and all that. And they're all wearing like crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Like they got their hair floating around like they're in water and stuff. So yeah, it's to be determined whether people want to actually have their own face in the metaverse. It's a cool idea, but Ready Player Me goes beyond the actual face stuff. It's a whole construction of your avatar.
Yeah, and then they raised $56 million.
Yeah.
For this this feature or potentially standard for avatar creation across the majority of metaverses. The fact, that's a pretty impressive list. VR chat, spatial, Somnio space, Artifact.
Yeah.
These are all very big players in the metaverse space at the moment. So, if they're showing enough signs of adoption in order to get $50+ million investment, like it's interesting.
It's huge.
Like, it's big, and it's something to keep an eye on as far as like what other features or tools need to exist that need a standard application across the metaverse, right? I mean, what else could there be?
Well, marketplaces. Well, that's one, right?
Okay, there's one.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are others. Finances. What's going to be the DeFi protocol is going to be the first to like penetrate the metaverse and like
all the metaverses.
Yeah, like really like standardized lending within the metaverse, stuff like that. I don't know.
If you're a DeFi protocol and you want to get into the metaverse, hit us up because that's what we do.
That's right. We're already working on that. So.
Shield factory right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's been IDs. I guess in the Web2 space and Web3, we have options. Let us know what you think about identity in the metaverse, identity in Web3. Let us know in the comment section below. And make sure you follow us on Twitter at The Block Runner, at MetaZone.io, and Rovi AI. And we will catch you in the next video.
Peace.